Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another live edition of the Sunday night live edition of the Mike Prince Show. What a weekend it was. Grambling State leading late against Tennessee State. And were you able to stay up between Jackson State and FAMU? We're going to recap Prairie View, Texas Southern, and we're going to do this thing, as they say, big boy style. We're jumping right to the Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union hotline. We have none other than let's say, guru of radio, legendary Ralph Cooper, to start part two. Brother Cooper, how you doing, sir?
All right, Mr. Prince, Mike, and I'm doing well, and I'm glad you are too, and thanks for the accolades, and it's a pleasure to be on your program.
Yes, sir. It's a pleasure to have you back. We seem to always run out of time. You know, that they say time flies when you're having fun. But before we get into the main thing, that's the main thing, were you able to get a glimpse at either one of these games that were played today?
Yes, I watched both of them, and the Jackson State game. Both teams had a chance to win the game. Florida A&M had their chances in the game. They went with their starting quarterback for the longest, and then near the end, the final quarter, they went with the freshman at Florida A&M. Coach Willie Simmons decided to change it up, but they lost by a score of 7-6. And the Jackson State defense was very impressive today, and also the young quarterback, Coach Pram's son. He did an excellent job, in my opinion, for a freshman also today against a very good Florida A&M defense.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, I know that it was, quote unquote, a defensive battle, shall we say, but I'm wondering, was it a more of a factor that both of these offenses were kind of lacking on today?
Yes, I think that is because of what's been happening with the COVID and the teams not playing for a moment. And, you had some teams that played spring football, some didn't play, or some played a different amount of games. And you can see Florida A&M was one of those teams that didn't play. You can see that today, but Jackson State has changed up. They've added players, and both teams, in my opinion, have some very skillful players. And as the season progresses, I think you're going to see the offenses catch up with the defenses.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And normally you have your offenses that would be on point, especially early in the season, because the defenses are trying to react to especially the first game of the season. But nonetheless, it is what it is. Jackson State comes out of the gate. Big win for that program, and it sets the tone, if you would, for the rest of the East. Meanwhile, Grambling, even though it's a non-conference battle going up against Tennessee State, what is your assessment of that game thus far as it's winding down?
Another team that changed up from the spring. Coach Fobbs at Grambling State didn't have his best players, or didn't have some of the players he has right now. You've got Tennessee State with a new coach, Eddie George. And this has been very interesting also. And again, I've seen more defense in this game also than offense. But you can see the offensive efforts falling into place. And again, they're going to get better as the season goes. But right now, is defense, and a lot of these, what's happening also, I think some of these guys, some of these players on both teams, all four of these teams today, have made impressions on professional scouts on defense.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And
Yeah.
I don't think that had ever not been the case, but I guess
Right.
it's accented more now. I guess it becomes from who the messenger is, and people have a tendency.
Right.
And I use the terminology between a preacher and an evangelist. A preacher, pastor can tell you the same thing, and it sounds like you stretch, yawn, one of the adults from Charlie Brown. Then the evangelist comes in town and is, oh man, this is some new bread. But he said the same thing, and he'll shake you up and move on down the road. So I have dubbed Dion as more of the evangelist of the SWAC right now to kind of accent some things that have been said and done all along.
Now, if he's the evangelist, the commissioner, Dr. Charles McCullum, what label would you put on him? He's the one who orchestrated Bethune-Cookman in Florida. He's an apostle.
Yeah, see, the apostles sit and plant churches. The evangelists shake them up, and the pastors steer them along the way. I'm on point with it. I'm ready for you today, sir. I'm ready for you today.
Oh, well, I'm glad you are, because you put me in my place on that one. Apostle Dr. Charles McCullum, who decided to let the SWAC play football in the spring. He called the fall season last year for safety reasons, of course. And the graduation rates also up in the HBCUs. And then you add Bethune-Cookman. They didn't fare. Bethune-Cookman went out west this past weekend. They went to El Paso and played UTEP at home and only lost by 10 points, 38-28. I was surprised with that score, but that may be an indication of what to expect from them down the road.
Well, they have been my dark horse. I know that FAMU was getting all the glory and the fanfare, but I told people that Bethune-Cookman has been a solid program under Terry Sims. They've had FAMU's number for the last 9 years or so, and I think with the physicality that they bring to the table, they're going to shake the apple core of a lot of these teams in this conference, and they're going to find out what Wildcat football is about real soon.
Right, and see, since you mentioned that, my dark horse wild card is the Prairie View A&M University football team. Many of the people who are covering the SWAC from the east, from east of the Mississippi, they have no clue. Well, they may be now because they may have watched some of the game last night, streaming or whatever. But Prairie View has a good sound all around program. They beat up Texas Southern last night, 40-17. And there was and believe it or not, they were impressive also on both sides of the football. And Texas Southern is still young. They've got to make up their mind if they're going to go with the sophomore quarterback or the freshman quarterback. And I guess but they've got two tough games in a row coming up. They're on the road next week at Baylor. Then they play Rice here in Houston before they get a homecoming game. So they could be 0-3.
Yes, sir. Now, you're speaking of the dark horse for your pick with Prairie View. The dark horse definitely out of the gate was the play of Javon pass. 354 passing yards for the Panthers. Very high percentage throws, and when he needed to, he showed off a strong arm. And now that they have some film on him, of course, he came from a Power 5 program out of Louisville, coming in to see. And I've had some people tell me that, in their opinion, that he reminded them of Doug Williams, not the collegiate player, but the professional player with his stature and demeanor out there on the field.
Well, I can understand that. I can understand them making that comparison after watching him last night. He, like you said, he passed for 354 yards, 3 touchdowns, 25 of 37. He's a big guy. He's about 6'4", and like you say, transferred from Louisville. That was the ace in the deck for Coach Eric Dooley. All week long, he didn't say who was going to start at quarterback for him. Then he dropped Siobhan pass in the game, and he stepped up. I think he was sacked. The Prairie View offensive line deserves credit also. He was sacked only one time in that game, and he's my right now. He's my college player of the week, SWAC player of the week.
Yes,
because
sir.
of his play in that game.
Yes, sir. We're on the Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union Hotline with legendary radio talk show host Ralph Cooper. He was fortunate enough to bless us on last week, and this is part 2, but we're kind of doing some recaps of everything. When you look at this Prairie View, Texas Southern rival, and your heart has to go out for Coach McKinney, and here's why my heart goes out for him. He's doing everything by the book, and I know that people are instant right now. They want it right now. I want to win right now. And he's going through, putting the pieces together that are necessary. But my question, because your finger is more on the pulse in Houston than I would ever have, are Texas Southern Tiger fans running out of patience with Coach McKinney?
Yes, some are. In my opinion, it's wrong. But you have the grumbling, of course, and it's coming from all, like the late Dwayne Bobbitt, the boxer, said one time, it's coming from all whichever you got all kind of people pointing the finger. They feel after 13 or 14 games without a win that there's no improvement. But like you said, you can see the improvement, but you got a young coaching staff also. He's put together a young coaching staff. He's young, and then he's got a young ball club, and then he went with the sophomore quarterback last night. Some people thought the freshman should have played. If you watch the games today, you saw a freshman start for Tennessee State. Then they went back to the veteran on the team. You had Florida A&M to start the veteran and the upperclassmen, and then they went back. They went to the freshman. So some people want to think that should happen at Texas Southern. You got coaches all over the stands. They had about 20,000 people there. And yes, Doc, you are correct. The patient thing is very, there's a short rope, but hopefully, after, like I said, he's got 2 games coming up. He's got Baylor on the road. Now, I think they can play with Rice because of something. Well, I think they can play with Rice. And but they have to go to Rice to play Rice here in Houston, and that's in 2 weeks if I'm correct. But if they get off to a 0-3 start, you're going to really hear a lot of rumbling. But hey, you still have 7 or 8 games left, 6 or 7, 8 games left, and you could go 500 in those games.
Absolutely. And that's the pressure and the beauty and the uniqueness of this Prairie View, Texas Southern rival. Because it's a division game, it's the first game out of the gate. And usually, it sets the tempo not only for your football season, but for your athletic department as a whole. And it's a lot of pressure, especially for a young coach. But look, he's in his, 3rd year now. Dooley's in his 4th year. And Dooley has had the touch for the Texas Southern. He's had the touch for Grambling, but his Achilles heel has been Southern and Alcorn. So, all of them have their demons to try to fight off and ward off. And you just hope that these guys would give the right support to help them see this thing all the way through.
Right. And see, the other thing, Texas Southern now has lost 7 straight games to Prairie View A&M University.
Yes,
but
sir.
Now, believe it or not, at one time, you probably know this, Texas Southern won 14 games in a row.
I know. I was just going to say, you sound like you wanted some empathy from me, sir. We just halfway done with the revenge. So, sit patient and deal with it, and it'll work its way out. That's what normally happens. But you want competitive games, and to give all credit to Texas Southern, they came out of the gate. I was like, whoa, wait a minute, what's going on? And then all of a sudden, as they said, not being facetious, but, so same old Tigers, just a different year, and so you get that, but you can see them turning the corner. But I compare it to this, Ralph, is steering a ship and not a boat. And there's a big difference. When you're steering that ship, you turn, but are we moving at all? Yeah, we're moving, but you don't feel it because this thing is so massive as you would be able to get that whip appeal in a boat. So Texas Southern Tiger fans, hang in there. You got 7 more years before you can stop complaining about Prairie View, but then you get ready to go. Look, Ralph, man, we never have enough time. I got to get you. I got to get Al Wash. I got to get Got to get
No problem.
Coach Dooley all in tonight's show, man. But you guys making it easy for me, man, because when I have guests like you, time just keep on flying.
Well, I want to thank you for having me, and give my best to Al Wash. I know he's involved with the Grambling Tennessee State game, and then the Prairie View Grambling game. He ought to be pretty happy right now, especially if Grambling pulls this one off and Prairie View already winning. And then, of course, Coach Dooley, he was clean as a whistle again last night. He's the cleanest coach in the SWAC. He came out real clean. I'm talking about in regards to his attire, and then he made the adjustments to win the game. So you have to give him credit.
Yes,
he made some key adjustments in that game last night.
That's that Kappa Alpha Psi in him, man. That's that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. He as they just say noop, and he gonna be sharp as a tack. But I don't care how he dressed, as long as he keeps finding a way to win, and that's all that matters, right?
Right, that's all that matters. And then you got all of these black college games now being televised and either streamed, audio. I mean, it's unreal what's happening right now.
Coach, you know what, Ralph? I got to get what you do in the week because I got my insights on that, and we're gonna have to do a pre-recorded session so we can get in depth with that one, because I got my opinion on that. But I've got to take this break, man, so I can get some things lined up. But I truly thank you, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right,
okay.
That was Ralph Cooper of KCOH giving his breakdown and assessments of the games. We got to take a quick break, but we will be right back with more of tonight's live episode of the Sunday Night Live edition of the Mike Prince Show. Keep it right where you got it, and I promise you that we will be right back. Reflections Paint and Auto Body Shop, located in Waller, Texas, is ready to restore the beauty of your automobile. Whether it's a small dent or a major accident, if your vehicle needs auto body repair, check out Reflections Paint and Body Shop. All repairs are completed by highly skilled and trained professionals. They are located at 2910 Waller Street in Waller, Texas. And just in case you can't get it into them, they provide towing services. Call them today, 936-931-5780. That number again, 936-931-5780. Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union has 13 different locations to better serve you. Locations in Rosenberg, Missouri City, Katy, College Station, Bryan, Brenham, and Waller, Texas. For more information, you can contact them on their toll-free number, 855-391-2149. Or you can send an email to information@bvscu.org. Let's face it, from time to time, we'll have a need for an attorney, whether it's the case of a DUI, DWI, or any other circumstances that would find you on the other side of the law. Attorney Lee Van Richardson, located at 1047 Austin Street, is the one to call. Attorney Lee Van Richardson and his staff are equipped to help you get through your legal battles. Attorney Lee Van Richardson, 979-826-8008 in Hempstead, Texas. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Sunday Night Live edition. We're speeding right along as we go back to the Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union Hotline. We now go to, we got all these gurus. This was our legend weekend last weekend, but it's continuing on right now. We have legendary promoter Al Wash, as he is sitting back, rubbing his hands like a mad scientist right now. He's the promoter of State Fair Classic of just many games, but he's also promoter of today's action between Tennessee State and Grambling State, as we present to some and introduce to others, none other than Al Wash. Well, Al, how you doing today, sir?
Yeah, I'm doing fine.
You're doing fine as you sitting back. Grambling, when we last checked, was holding on 16-10. But before we get into the State Fair Classic and the build up, a lot of people are not aware that not only did you promote this game, but you promoted a huge high school game last week in Houston area. How do you find these connections, sir?
Well, it's not like I find them; they find me.
Okay.
And when they call, and trust me, when they call me, I got a challenge on my hand because when Duncanville called me, he needed 2 games, so that was a little stretch for us, but we made it happen on the first game, played the number one team in the country. And then the second game was that Bishop Sycamore. They say wasn't a real team. So, and we ended up canceling that one.
Okay, okay, and that was part of. Can you give a little backstory on that thing, man, on how that thing came out like it did?
Well, they end up playing IMG on ESPN here at the same stadium that Grambling is playing in today, which they played IMG last year, and IMG always ranked in the top 3 in the country, and they played a full schedule last year. So when they became available the same day that we needed a game, we said, okay, fine. We put the matchup together, but then ESPN, they discovered that they wasn't a real school, they say, and they allegedly had a lot of other complaints against them, and ESPN just kept digging in and digging in, and it just made it bad for them. So they fired the football coach, and I don't know if they abandoned the team or not right now.
Okay. Okay.
But that's what happened. We were supposed to be playing them next week.
Right. So all that gets thrown out. So now you do the mad scramble. Is there enough time to recover to get that replacement game, or do you have to add that to the wash?
Well, we just add that to the wash.
Okay, not playing on words or anything, but you know how that works out. Now, when it comes to promoting, and fortunate enough for you, if Grambling holds on to win, that makes it even a better task. I wouldn't say an easier task for you to promote the State Fair Classic. Both Prairie View and Texas Southern, I'm not Texas Southern, but Grambling would be coming in off some big wins. What goes into the legwork? I know this is a year-round process, but what all goes into the process of promoting a game such as the State Fair Classic and even what we got going on in Canton?
Well, the game in Canton, we normally promote it all over the state of Ohio. This is the second year for the game. First year we played Morehouse played Alabama A&M, and which was a good game. And so this year, it's Grambling and Tennessee State, which seemed like to be a good game today. But the thing is that our attendance was twice as large as what it was last year. So that's been the plus of the game, that the attendance was twice as large.
Okay.
And with Grambling and Prairie View, we promote that game throughout 3 states: Texas, Oklahoma, and Louisiana, and we got a big reach on that game. So, but I've been promoting that game now 43 years, and we keep our attendance in the neighborhood, between 45 and 55,000, which this year we're hoping that we can hit 60,000 people this year.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, I know there was an attempt for the spring, but there's no comparison with everything that was going on, but the show must go on. Did you find some unique wrinkles that you could add to your normal process of promoting for that, or did you just kind of work with what you had and went with the they say the butter deals?
Well, we marketing wise, we took out we did a great deal of marketing. We expanded it. We did some things that we hadn't done in a while, like we advertised on the transit buses, and we did billboards in the city, and we did a heavy campaign, and we end up where we normally spend probably about $125,000 in marketing. This time we probably spent about 150 in marketing.
Okay.
So
Okay.
which when you can do 40, 50,000 people, that's a great deal.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. A huge deal. Now, when you look at the future of this thing, when you go back to the NFL partnership with it, do you have a window that says, look, we're going to give you 3 years to see what you can do as a test trial, or is it a year-to-year basis? How do you work those out?
No, we did a 3-year contract with the NFL. And
Okay.
next year game would be Central State and Howard.
Okay. Okay.
So
And so I guess part of the strategic planning of that is some teams that wouldn't have as far to travel or has a history of traveling well, correct?
well, it's a feel that you have to have. Central is right there in Ohio. Howard is about a 5.5 drive from Canton, Ohio. And, which I think that after coming off of Grambling and Tennessee State, which is a pretty good distance to get to Ohio, but it's the name Grambling and Tennessee State. They used to be big rivalries years ago, and they hadn't played in some time. So I think it's a plus. Anytime you come back after a good name recognition game, you can make it work for you the following year. And that's what we did. The first year we just reached out for who was available. And then the next year we found, and we said we'll go get somebody who feel like they have drawing. That game here, Grambling and Tennessee State, you can take that game anywhere in the United States and draw 40,000 people with that game. But in Canton, Ohio, there's not a lot to do in Canton other than if you hadn't visited the Hall of Fame, and that's a sight to see. And the HBCU museum is being housed in the Hall of Fame museum. So I would say within probably the next 5 years, it's going to be a beautiful campus where they building apartments for NFL retirees, ball players, and restaurants, and 3-4 more football fields. And so it'll be a beautiful campus when they finish with it.
Yes, sir. We're talking right now with Al Wash, promoter of the promoters. I mean, he just does everything. A lot of people don't realize, Al, you do more than just sports. You do a lot of other events. Can you bring us up to speed on those?
Oh, we do jazz shows. We do R&B. We do gospel. We'll do plays, and we do different type of events. We've done track meets, and we do anything that black people buy tickets to.
Okay, and what about people buying tickets to these days, Al?
What are they buying tickets to these days? Well, right now we just try to get them back on track just to buying a ticket after the COVID. So I think now we'll be able to maybe get them back on track and get out of the house and come out. I'm looking at the attendance in Canton, Ohio has been the best attendance. I hear Texas Southern and Prairie View had great attendance. So I'm looking at what's going on across the country. Some concerts are doing very well. We have a jazz show next week here in Dallas, and it's been sold out for a month. So if we just get everybody back on track, everybody be safe, everybody go get your vaccination. And I just got my booster shot on Friday, and I recommend everyone get a shot.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And we're saying the same things on this end. And it's always good to be your brother's keeper. And what better way to do that than getting your booster shot and buying some tickets to help support these Black Run events. And it's always a good thing to be a part of something positive. Always.
Yeah.
Now, Al,
that's true.
Let me ask you this. Some are easier to promote than others. And I, being a PV alumnus, I can recall a time when we were a welcome mat to Grambling and everybody else in the conference. How difficult was it for you to promote that State Fair Classic?
Well, that was the thing that people were saying. How can you still put 40,000 people in a stadium, and Grambling, Prairie View hadn't won a game in 8 years, and everybody knew Grambling was going to beat Prairie View. But we didn't look at it as promoting a game. We looked at it as promoting an event. And if you take the concept of promoting an event, we have the world's largest fair. We have all kind of exotic food. We have a concert, Drew Hill, before the game, the Black Pumas after the game. You have the game, you have the halftime show. You get all that for one ticket price. And you can go and you can be there at 9 o'clock in the morning and stay to 12 midnight and never see the same thing on the fairgrounds. The fair is the world's largest fair.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I guess you say, once again, it's about yoking yourself up with the right product, yoking yourself up with the right timing, and then just getting it out there to the right people.
That's correct.
Yes, sir. Al, I always get a lot of talking with you and learning from you and the history of things. If you were to give advice, and I've asked you this before, to a young up-and-coming promoter, you've been doing this for 43 years. What advice would you give a young promoter that's out there trying to make this a reality?
Well, my advice, people say it's selfish, but it's not selfish. It's times have changed from the time that I started promoting in years ago, 40-some years ago, to today. First thing I would say is don't do it. Because of it's risky. It takes, things cost a lot more than it did 40 years ago. We could go buy a piece of talent for $10,000. Now these people are wanting 100, 200,000. So if you lose, the loss is tremendous. And you can't just make it on one show, and you go out there and you do one show and you lose it, and you got to wait till you get your money or get some more money. You have to have a game plan to make something like this work today.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, the game plan is definitely in motion. We'll be checking an update at the break here to see if Grambling is holding on. Last week,
the Grambling has won.
Okay, so what's final 16-10?
16-10.
All right, then. Well, there it is. I say, get her done. So it'll be a great atmosphere, and we'll be definitely getting together before that happens, talking about and helping push out the opportunity to get out there and watch the Texas State Fair Classic between Grambling State Tigers and the Prairie View A&M University Panthers. Al, we got to take a dip right now. We got Coach Dooley waiting in the wings, but we definitely appreciate you joining on board with us, man, and we look forward to hearing from you real soon.
All right. There, Coach Dooley, I'll say hello.
I sure will, sir. Al Wash, promoter, guru promoter. Man, we've had a guru broadcaster, now a guru promoter, and now I got to take a guru break because I got to get some bills paid and I got to get my next guest lined up. But you're listening to the Sunday Night Live edition of the Mike Prince Show. You guys keep it right where you got it, and I promise you, we will be right back. The Open Mic Broadcast Network serving student athletes from Little League, high school, and collegiate coverage right here on the Open Mic Broadcast Network. From coast to coast, from dusk till dawn. You can catch all student athletic action right here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network, the station designed with you in mind. Serving the community through faith and athletics, the Open Mic Broadcast Network, the voice of student athletics.
Hello, this is Alonzo Hardy Jr., the president of the SWAC Alumni Association. The SWAC Alumni Association is an organization founded on December 10, 1999, at the Sheraton Hotel in Birmingham, Alabama. Its mission is to serve as a rallying ground for individuals who have made the Southwestern Athletic Conference the illustrious conference that it is today. Its membership is open to former student athletes who played in the conference in any sport, as well as to coaches, athletic administrators, staff members, game officials, and fans. Annually, the association holds a Legends Awards and Roast Banquet or luncheon where it honors individuals with Lifetime Achievement Awards, a Chuck Prophet Wagon Master Award, and occasionally a Distinguished Service Award. Proceeds from that event help to finance degree completion scholarships for student athletes who have exhausted their playing eligibility at SWAC universities, but who may still need an extra semester or two to complete their college studies. For more information on the SWAC Alumni Association, or to get information on becoming a member, you can send correspondence to SWAC Alumni Association, 875 Miller Creek Lane, Newport News, Virginia, 23602. The email address is swacalumuniassociation@yahoo.com.
The station designed with you in mind, serving the community through faith and athletics, the Open Mic Broadcast Network, Prairie View, Texas. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. As we are rolling right along, staying on this Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union hotline, we are now joined with four-year coach of the Prairie View A&M University Panthers, winners of the 36th annual Labor Day Classic by the score of 40-17, none other than Coach Eric Dooley. How you doing this evening, sir?
I'm good. I'm doing well. Good evening, and thanks for having me.
Well, thank you for making yourself available. Panthers come out the gate. A little surprised at first because it seemed like Texas Southern was ready to hit us in the mouth, but we took their best shot and was able to recover. And all I can say, if you talked about a play on words, what Javon Pass did on yesterday alone still has people talking and already talking about how he could definitely be newcomer of the year, if not player of the year, flat out.
Wow, that's good to hear. But you know, we gonna take it one game at a time, 1 week at a time, and when the dust settles, we'll see what's going to take place. But we like our chances.
Yes, sir. Now you got the stats: 354 yards of passing in the air. But another impressive comparison that I had a few people telling me about, and it kind of threw me off, and I want to get your reaction to this. They compare pass to Doug Williams, not the collegiate player, but the professional player, not only on the way he played, but even his body build.
Wow, that's something different, because you're talking about a guy now that's one of my mentors, and now you're comparing my quarterback to him. But let me state this here for the record. He had 384 yards passing.
Oh, okay. Excuse me. Hey, we sure want to give a brother his credit, right? So we owe him 30,
Absolutely.
Right? We owe him 30. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. So 384 yards and still 3 touchdowns and only 1 sack. Now, Coach, you know that I have always been upfront, and we always talked about line play, and we talked about the discipline as far as penalties. Let me tip my hat to you for the penalties A very great job coming out of the gate. Look very totally different as far as the discipline goes. Now, this is Mike. You're the coach. I'm just a broadcast show host, right? I was pleased with the pass protection, but was looking for a little bit more in that run blocking. How would you assess that?
I mean, you're right on point. We talked about it as a coaching staff. We'll get a chance to talk about it with the team. But, I do take my hat off to those guys, those young men, because, due to different protocols, different situations, we were limited on the O-line. We didn't have everybody that we needed. But you know what? That doesn't matter. We're just going to play football. We're going to line down. We have that one motto, spot the ball.
Yes, sir.
That's what matters.
Yes, sir.
But, we're going to get that taken care of, because I think we would be a much better rushing team. I do like our opportunities with the guys that we have behind there. We just got to get those guys going. I kind of went away from some of the things that we normally would do because of the numbers. But, when everything get back in, then you'll see exactly what we are actually capable of. But that won't stop us from being physical.
Yes, sir.
Those guys understand that, but I do commend those guys on the pass pro situation. But we got to get ready to be a little bit more, and I say it in a good word, lack of better words, a little bit more violent in the run game.
Yes, sir. Now, for the record, I was understanding that there was some COVID protocols, not actually COVID itself, but some protocols which some of the guys had to miss out on. But with something that I noticed, Coach, and maybe you can help me on this one as well, you somewhat slowed down a little bit at times on yesterday. And was that part of the fact, knowing that you didn't have the depth that you had to kind of get these guys some gas in between times?
I won't say that because I don't like that word slow, but I'll say that I try to manage it a little bit more because of I knew what we had defensively, and I wanted to make sure that those guys had opportunity to be successful as well. So we played the game together.
Okay. Well, I like the way it was played together. I did chuckle to myself first half, I want to say first quarter, 4th and 5. And it would have been a 42-yard field goal attempt. And I recall asking you, where did you feel comfortable? You said 48. I said, okay, he's going to line up for the field goal. But you go for it. You get the first down. What made you not try for the 3 then, or were you just trying to make a statement early, or do you even recall that play situation?
Well, you gotta know the pulse of, and you gotta know what they're doing and what you're capable of. I felt we was capable of doing that. I thought certain situations put it in the 4th and 5. So I felt that we could have easily gotten that 4th and 5. So, hats off to those guys that did what was needed. And, fortunately, we came away with the first down.
Yes, sir. Another thing that was noticed, Coach, if I'm not mistaken, once again, you help me on this. I'm just as I say, a spectator. There was only one drop pass on yesterday. One drop pass.
Yeah, that was pretty good, but I'm gonna still harp on that one drop pass. We gotta be flawless in that department. The guys are working hard. That's the thing. That's what it all comes down to. What you put in is what you're gonna get out. So the guys been doing a great job. We're trying to make sure we manage the things that we have, and we're not worried about complaining. We're just gonna have solutions and do what needs to be done.
Yes, sir. We're on the Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union hotline with Coach Eric Dooley of the Prairie View A&M University Panthers, victorious over Texas Southern 40-17. Now, we talked about a lot of good that was worked upon, and you just made mention of some things to work upon. What are some things that you're looking at that you're going to have to work on as you get ready for Incarnate Word this week?
Well, you mentioned one of them. We're going to have a better rushing game. There's no question about that, and I feel comfortable about saying that's going to take place. I think we still got to eliminate, although we wasn't in double-digit penalties and it didn't really hurt us, we still got to be able to work on those penalties that we control. Certain penalties we control. We had 4 defensive penalties that we can control those penalties. So we need to make sure we take care of that. And then offensively, I mean, it's just a concentration type thing. The snap count. There's no reason to jump offside. So we're going to make sure we take care of that. But most importantly, we got to take care of the football. We had we were 5 or 6 I call it the green zone. Everybody call it the red zone. We were 5 or 6 in the green zone. And the reason why we wasn't 6 for 6, because we turned the ball over. We got to take care of the football. And we understand that we work those drills every day in practice. So that's going to be a big emphasis. And Just the one interception, we'll control that. It's so easy to make corrections with the W. So we're going to make those corrections and move forward. And I think our defense did a great job getting off the field on third downs. We still got to eliminate some of the big plays, some things we need to sharpen up on. But overall, I thought they did a good job, a great job. But we pleased, not satisfied, and we're going to keep working to get better. This week here, we should be a lot better. From week 1 to week 2, you should show some growth in your team. So I look forward to it.
Yes, sir. And speaking of third down efficiency, not only were you guys able to execute on third down, but on some third and long situations, able to get some big yardage on that, and that was also a positive thing. Now, as you move forward to the Cardinals of Incarnate Word, it would be fair to assume, and this is no knock at Texas Southern, I would consider this a slight upgrade in your opponent. They just come off a 44-41 loss to Youngstown, another formidable FCS opponent. Is this one of those games that you could really measure, as you say, going from week 1 to week 2, just what you have in the cupboard?
Absolutely. I think they played well enough in that game to win. Things just didn't go their way, unfortunately, but they played well enough to win. And they got some tremendous athletes on that side. Some of the guys that played against our guys that played with our guys that's on this team. So we know it's going to be a challenging contest, but we're definitely up for the task, and we look forward for an exciting football game on Saturday.
Okay, so the Panthers are 1-0 to start the season off. They'll travel to San Antonio to take on Incarnate Word. Now, Coach, when you have a late game, and I know that you got your game face on. You're probably trying to pick out your wardrobe of what you're going to wear pre-game, and then what you're going to wear at the game, and what you're going to wear after half, and then post-game. So I know you got a lot on your plate, but do you ever peek at other games? And if so, what games do you take interest in?
You talking about when before we play?
No,
well, if a game is on, I don't like to look at the next opponent that we played during that time. If we're playing, say for instance, if Incarnate Word was on, I'm not going to watch them if we haven't played Texas Southern. Now, if it's a other game that I know a team that we don't have to play, such as down the line, I'll watch them just to see what they're doing. But I don't want to get into it because I don't watch the game anymore. Every game I watch is almost like I'm scouting. So that's why I try not to do it until it's that time. But I like to sit down and watch football. I like to see what other teams are doing, seeing certain things. I think learning is every day. You can always learn. So that's why I sit down and I watch and see if I can take something from it that's going to benefit Prairie View.
Yes, sir. Now, I know that you're a big Saints fan, and forgive me for not even starting the conversation off with this. Is your family safe in Louisiana with the Ida situation that just passed through?
Yes, thank God. My family been fortunate enough to have everything take place. No one is in dire need, but still worry about the other individuals that's around. My dad, I got a dad that's 92 years old, that's strong 92. He understands everything. I thought that was going to get an opportunity for him to come stay down here by me, but he's strong and he got that strong faith, so he knew it was going to take place. And you know what? It's okay to have it because his lights are on. He have his lights on, staying in his home, and everything is fine. So, and as long as my sisters, brothers, and relatives, everybody's doing well. My in-laws, so everybody's okay, and thank God. And just trying to make sure that the other individuals that's around there are safe as well.
Yes, sir. As family is always important. Well, it's really the main thing, regardless of how many games we win or lose, how much money we make. It's really all about family. And speaking of that, how's Coach Singletary doing, Coach?
He's doing well. He was able to come out and coach the game on Saturday. His family, everything is okay. And I can say that as well. But sometimes you have those nights by yourself or with your family. So we understand that. But he's a man of God. So with that strength right there, we know God is never going to put more on you than you can bear. You just got to be able to weather it. And it's easy for it to say when it's on the other hand, but I do believe that wholeheartedly. So he's working through it, and he's been in great spirit, and we're just going to continue to pray for him and his family.
Yes, sir, absolutely. And, Coach, I got to let you know that I was a big fan on the Panthers' look on last night. I really enjoyed it. It had that nostalgia throwback feel, and I was okay with that. How did you come up with that concept, and why did you hold out on me?
Well, that uniforms and quarterbacks that I never let loose until that time.
Oh,
For whatever
man.
reason, I don't know, but I'll be honest with you, I hadn't even thought about it. It's some more to come. I can say that. It's some more to come. I think you guys will be pleased and real satisfied and like it a whole lot. But you just got to make sure you represent the university in all aspects.
Okay.
So we just want to make sure we're doing to make all alumni, make the individuals that's a part of this great institution proud.
Yes, sir. Now, when you look at coming off the win, which is expected, you expected to win every game at all time. I've had a couple of people reach out and say that the Panthers were going to be their dark horse coming out of the West. And we know one game does not make a season, but it sure hits up the table, right? What is your message right now to your team and your fan base?
Well, my message to my team right there, we was fortunate enough to win that game right there. The guys played well. I thought they did a lot of great things and still some things we need to work on. We'll celebrate that right there and when tomorrow morning at 8:00, once we have another team meeting, that's behind us and it's time to move on. We're taking one game at a time, and that's what we want to do. But I feel real good about this team right here. I do want the fan base to know, continue to come out and support us. The young men have been working hard in some truly adverse situations. But you know what? They just go to work, and that's the great thing about it. I know we mentioned what's taking place on the field, but these guys are working in the classroom as well. So I'm extremely proud of these young men. A lot of guys. We have a lot of guys on our team that have been going through some situations, and it's pretty tough. I had a young man. Not to try to paint a sorry story, a sob story, but I had a young man play the full game yesterday, and he just lost his mother. But he was there in spirit, and that just showed the team coming together. And he felt that we was his family, and he needed to be here because he know what his mom would want him to do. So we've been praying for him along with some other guys, along with Coach Singletary, and he, as well as myself. I lost my mother-in-law, but you know what? God is good.
Yes, sir.
All the time.
Yes, sir.
So we do understand that, and we keep. I've always said it. And this is a big part of me. I used to like listening to the song by Darryl Coley. He's preparing me for everything that comes in my life.
Oh, yes, sir.
I really believe that.
I bet you won't sing none of it. I bet you won't sing none of it.
No, you ain't gonna get me to do that. I think about myself.
Hey, look, I lost just this past week alone 3 myself, sir. So I know exactly what you're talking about and how you feel, and easier said than done for most cases. But when you know who the Lord is, you're able to pick up the pieces just a little bit faster, not extremely fast, but you're able to go on a little bit further down the road. There's no song I feel like going on. Though times may come on every hand, I feel like going on, and that's where I am right now. And I'm not going to sing it neither, Coach. We'll let the musicians keep on singing. How about that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, look, Coach, it's always a joy and a pleasure. But I thought about a segment that we're going to add, and if you'll go along with me, we're going to give 3 awards out each week, win, lose, or draw. Okay, and we're going to have Offensive Player of the Week, Defensive Player of the Week, and then Panther Pride of the Week, and that player might be any position, and they might have done the small things to help make a difference in the outcome of the game. And I'm going to let you have the first crack at it right now.
Wow, if I have to go, man, I tell you what, we had several candidates that could have been Offensive Player of the Week. I like to point those guys out. We had Jalen Howard, who had 4 receptions, 138 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And then we had Antonio Mullins, had 10 receptions for 131 yards and a touchdown. But then we had Juwan Pass that threw the ball exceptionally well, 3 touchdowns, 384 yards. So my offensive player, now people going to say, well, I thought you was a wide receiver. I am, but I like to be real with it. My offensive player would be Juwan Pass.
Okay, I thought that was a no-brainer. It was a strong performance, you're right. But that young man was spinning that rock on last night. My goodness, he was spinning that rock, man. Wow.
Absolutely.
You wasn't exaggerating on that one. I'll give you that one.
Okay, and then when you talk about on the defensive side, it's two guys that come stand out to me. A young man that we were able to bring over here this year here, Powell, our defensive end. He played for us. Did a great job. Had a lot of tackles. Had some rushes. Had some sacks. Did a great job for us. Then they had the other young man, Drake Cheatham, that played exceptionally well as well. And some of those guys did a good thing. But I'll have to go with. I'll have to give this one here to Powell.
Okay.
To Powell. I would have to give that to him. He played exceptionally well. Now the Panther.
Panther Pride, which is the unsung hero.
Ooh-wee.
Yes, sir. Look, hey, it's my job to kind of make you think about him, right, Coach?
Absolutely. When you're talking about laying things on the line and understand what it is all about and personal sacrifices, this week right here, I'll have to give it to Logan Jackson. Because to me, a mother is very, very precious.
Yes.
And to come out here and play this game, which is a game, that's unprecedented.
Yes,
so
sir.
I'll give it to. He showed what living in America is all about, how life takes place, and how he understands his purpose. I'll have to give it to Logan Jackson.
Logan Jackson, very well, sir, and we will be in total agreements with you, and we truly have our thoughts and prayers going out to the young man. And I'm not saying this just for lip service, Coach. Whatever we can do here at the Open Mic to help see that man through, please don't hesitate to let us know, sir.
Absolutely.
Coach Dooley, victorious yet again for the Labor Day Classic. That's 4 in a row for you, Coach. 7 in a row overall. I was talking to Ralph Cooper. I told him, I'm not going to have no empathy with you because at one point we were down 14-0, Coach.
Right,
and the way I look at it, we just halfway back in this thing, and we got at least 8 more to give them. So let's keep it grinding. Let's keep it rolling. And as the Lord say the same and the creek don't rise, sir, we'll get together next week after another win against Incarnate Word.
Sounds good to me.
All right, Coach Eric Dooley joining us on the Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union Hotline. Ladies and gentlemen, I am up against the clock, which means that we're going to have to exit stage left for today. Don't forget, you can join us each and every day right here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter at The Mike Prince Show. The YouTube channel is the Open Mic Broadcast Network. And our 24-hour dial-in message line, 713-570-6736. The clock on the wall tells me that is all, and I've got to go. But until the next time, you guys be blessed, and we'll see you on the other side.
Papa.